Okay, what is up, and welcome back. We have another returning guest who is my brother, and I'm very excited to have a conversation today. Last time he was on the podcast, he was just an engaged man and a collegiate athlete, but now he is a married man and a professional athlete. So, Chance, welcome back to my podcast.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me back.
Well, you know that everybody, no one can really hear you. It's just me and you right now.
Well, yeah.
This isn't like a live audience kind of thing.
For when it airs, but you have the sitcom stuff in that cool studio that you have going back there, right? Like you have like the laugh button, the clap button, like when I say some good stuff.
Yes, it'll be mute the whole time then if you're on the podcast.
Good.
I'm just kidding, but no, I mean, really, you've had a lot of life change since the last time you were on the podcast. It's been over a year now.
Has it been over a year? When did we have that? Early in the baseball season?
It was when you played Georgia. It was like the week after you played Georgia.
After I played Georgia. So
y'all played Georgia in March of last year. So it's been over a year.
I was still a 21-year-old man then.
No, you were a 21-year-old kid. Now you're a 22-year-old man.
Bingo.
There you are.
And a married man at that.
And like I said, collegiate athlete to engaged man to married man to professional athlete. So how's that been working out for you?
It's been working out a lot better than being engaged and being at different colleges and whatnot. Being married and being able to do this whole pro ball life together has made it a lot easier. I mean, me and Maya, we spent the first month of spring training apart because they brought us up early and gave us like a 2-week notice. And so I had the apartment in Tampa until the end of February, and they brought us up on February 1st. And so I told Maya, I was like, well, there's no point in you living in a hotel any longer than you have to, because I thought we were going to be in hotels for the whole season, for the whole 6 months. But they just changed us up to apartments this year. So you're looking at my nice background right here in the apartment, looking right into some other people's stuff.
Yeah, looking right into the downtown area.
No, that's like our courtyard.
Oh, never mind.
That's other people.
Oh, okay.
Apartment. Yeah, pretty close. But still, though, it's way better than a hotel. And it's just so much nicer, just getting to be married and get to live together during this time instead of having her just come visit. It's nice to have like your person with you all the time, especially through all the ups and downs and just the crazy times of pro ball.
Yeah, no, it really is so much nicer having, being together. Because even when me and Sadie were engaged, we were long distance, and it was not a fun, it was just not fun. I was in Auburn, she was in Nashville. Then now when y'all were engaged, you were in Georgia, she was in Tallahassee. You were in Atlanta, she was in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
But now y'all are both together in Delaware.
Now we're a force to be reckoned with in Wilmington, Delaware.
A force to be reckoned with. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because you're still early on into the whole marriage thing. Granted, I am too.
Hey, we just hit our 6 months 5 days ago.
Really? 6 months already?
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize that.
Time flies when you're having fun.
That is true, and also time flies just regardless.
In general, it really does. It's crazy. The fact that it's already like the middle of April is nuts.
What have you learned the most in 6 months of marriage?
Being selfless, I would say, is definitely the biggest thing that I've learned, especially, because there's going to be times when you don't necessarily feel like doing stuff that your wife would like for you to do, especially if that's her love language, like acts of service. It's like every night Maya would get in bed, and then I'll be just about to go get in bed, and then she's like, oh, can you lock all the doors and go refill my water? And then she'll have like a list of like 4 things for me to do. And, it's like, sometimes I'm like, of course I do them all, but, sometimes I'll have to, get ready before you get in bed. Get yourself ready.
That's so true. No, Sadie does the same stuff. It's like, did you not like time prep anything?
No.
Did you just expect me to do it?
I think so. And so I think, and I mean, there's countless other things, to be selfless with in marriage. Whether it's just even small things of like dropping a phone call of whoever you're on the phone with to answer your wife and stuff like that. But it's been super fun though. Like getting to serve her in that way has definitely been it's been a lot of fun. Although there are times like where you can get frustrated at like when it's 11:30 at night and you're super tired and you're refilling your water because it's like I'm gonna do this before I get in bed, and then you hear a shot from the bedroom, "Can you refill my water?" And so then you're like, "Yes." Then you walk all the way in there, all the way back out, and then all the way back into the bedroom.
But it's so funny because you would not have been like that when you were dating.
Well, it depends on which stage of the dating,
Well, granted, y'all didn't live together when you were dating, but
bingo.
But you know what I'm saying. I mean, you're a lot more prone to be like, just more enthusiastic and more upbeat and giddy, which you still are, but those annoyances kind of get more prevalent when you spend.
Well, I think
together.
They get more prevalent because they get more often. It's like whenever you're dating, like whenever we were dating, we came and visited y'all. It'd be like, okay, she's only asked me to do this 2 times ever, like to get her water, like whenever she's in bed, and then now it's like 5 nights out of the week. Can you refill my water? And so it's pretty funny. But yeah, it's just that the acts of service are a lot more once you go from like even engaged to married, especially since we didn't live together before we were married, it's just like the selflessness and the acts of service, just all those moments just become like, I guess, they just like, you just have to become a lot more aware of all those situations because you're with the person way more. So like way more of those opportunities are coming to you now instead of whenever, y'all are just spending kind of half of a day with one another. Now you're married and you're from the time your eyes open to the time your eyes close, you're with one another every day.
Yeah. I don't know if Maya's like this, but Sadie will do this often and it drives me crazy. But we'll be driving somewhere, and let's say I'm driving. We'll be going somewhere. She's in the passenger seat. We'll park, and then she'll be like, "Hold on, let me reply to some people real quick." And I'm like, "We just drove 20. Like, why were you not texting people back while we were driving?" It's like the moment I park, she's like, "Wait, hold on, before we get out of the car, let me do something." And she'd be like, texting so and so back, and then texting so and so back, and I'll be like, like. Your time management. I'm like, what were you doing the last 20 minutes just sitting there? Like, well, but it's like even like we'll pull in the driveway and it's like, wait, hold on. Like, let me look up something real quick. And they'd be like, why do you not just look it up on the drive?
Well, yeah, Maya loves long car rides. Especially like she loves road trips, and I don't like road trips really. But whenever I'm driving, for some reason, I mean, she gets the most text messages out of anybody in the world that I've ever seen. Like she can go a day without answering her phone and have like over 100 messages that she's got to go through. And she wants to go like diligently go through them. I kind of like whenever I get backed up over about 20 messages, I just kind of treat it like my birthday. I'll just open them, put up a thumbs up and say like, thank you. Or like just give
18 of those 20 are from a group message.
Well, yeah, probably sometimes. Yeah. And see, Maya, whenever she gets all those from a group message, she'll want to like read and reply. I'm just like open and swipe out and clear out your notifications.
Yeah. If you get that backed up on a group text, there's no going back from that for sure.
Bingo. Yeah. Especially when they're still texting. And she'll be trying to catch up into it. Like whenever we're on the road trips, I'm like trying to talk to her and she's like, hold on, wait, I'm trying to catch up on my messages. I'm like, just give them a whatever reply. It's been 2 months since you opened this message. Like, it's like they're not going to be hurt whenever they see that you didn't reply 2 months later.
If you're listening to this and you're an adrenaline junkie, then you're just like me. And what I love about Ice Barrel is that it allows me to just fuel that adventure side of me and just the adrenaline, because if you're sitting there wondering what is Ice Barrel, it's a cold therapy training tool that makes it super easy to incorporate ice baths into your routine. And you might also be wondering what are the benefits of it. And it's so many benefits. There's better recovery and performance. It improves mood and brain function. It can help alleviate depression and anxiety. It activates the nervous system. It helps with pain management, reduces inflammation, and it also helps improve your heart rate variability. And what I love about Ice Barrel more than any of the cold tubs that I've tried is the way that it allows you to sit upright in the cold tub. Most of the ones you're kind of laying on your back more so in a sense, and you're not really sitting upright like you are on the Ice Barrel. And I love how much just less space it takes up. Most of the other ones just take up a lot of space, and I can fit my Ice Barrel just right in the back corner of my porch. And I love how lightweight and portable it is. It drains super easy. There's a spigot on the bottom that if you need to drain it, you can drain it super easy. And if you need to fill it up, you just obviously turn your spigot the other way, and then the water stops going. And it's super durable. It's compact. It's made in the USA, and it's also made of 100% recycled material. And you can also get one for as little as $90 a month. I worked with Ice Barrel to help get y'all $125 off so that you can try it and see if you like it as much as I do. I threw a link in the show notes, and you'll see me sharing more on social media too. You can go to icebarrel.com/Christian and use code Christian to get $125 off. Ice Barrel offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% satisfaction. Again, that's icebarrel.com/Christian and use code Christian to get $125 off. Get colder, feel better, and let me know what y'all think. Well, what do you feel like that's the thing that, because you talked about, you've learned about being selfless in marriage. Do you think that's the thing that you've learned do you feel like you being selfish is kind of the thing that you've learned from most? And what do you feel like you're most selfish with?
Most selfish with?
I mean, it could be like those tasks like that, that you kind of would expect them to do, but they ask you to do it, which is not a bad thing. But you just kind of have that forethought of like, well, you could have done it, kind of just the rudeness.
I don't know. I don't know if it's because I'm still early in marriage or whatnot, but I mean, really, no acts of service have been like I really haven't felt like selfish in any way, I guess, like that. Like, I feel like, sometimes whenever she'll ask me to do some things like that, I'll just give her like the comment like I would to anybody, like, hey, let's maybe just get ready before you get in bed. But like, of course, I'm still going to do this for you because I love you, but just like next time,
You just you politely ask.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the same thing with you. Like if you asked me to go do like 3 things before you got in bed, whenever you're home during my Christmas break, I'd do them for you. And then it'd be
that's so not true.
What?
You would not know if I was laying in bed upstairs and I said, hey, can you go get me a water?
You're crazy. Well, because you have waters in your room. But if you said, hey, go get me a blue Powerade with some ice, I'd be like, okay. And then I'd go do it for you. And then I'd come back up and say, like, maybe do this before you get in bed.
That is so not true.
Don't even act like I don't do so much.
If you came up the stairs and I said, hey, can you go get me a blue Powerade with ice? You would not walk back down the stairs, go to the fridge, go to the ice machine, and then bring that up for me and just say, hey, next time do that. You would say, no, you can do that 100%.
Well, it just depends on what kind of mood you caught me in.
No,
am I up 3-0 on you in ping pong that night, or are we tied? Or
you've never been up 3-0 on me in ping pong.
Oh man, that's not true.
You've been up on me 3-0 a lot of times.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, last marriage thing I want to ask you: what's something that you expected going in that maybe hasn't been the case? Like, what's something that that you were expecting that didn't happen, or something that you weren't expecting that did happen, or whatever?
We're expecting that did happen.
Or just whatever, like vice versa, or something that you...
Well, yeah. I think, since I talk so much and Maya can talk so much, like I felt like we would always be talking like 24/7 with one another. And we do have like a lot of good conversations, especially like whenever we're out at dinner, like we'll see all these older couples that like are just like, I mean, we haven't seen them open their mouths except to put food in. And we're like, man, I hope we don't ever get to be like that couple, and which I don't think we will. But there's just times where it's like when you're just kind of hanging out like at home, like just like sitting on the couch and whatnot, that like the peace that you get from just like being with your person, like in a quiet room, like you don't have to be like necessarily like talking or even touching, but just like kind of getting to be like in the same room space with them is like super comforting. And I don't know if I would say that's not something that like I didn't expect, but I felt like I was going to have to like kind of have like a more like like physical touch with them, like have to be touching them or like have to be like kind of talking with them or whatnot. But, like she can be sitting up here at the counter, like working on whatever she's working on. And I can be sitting back on the couch, either like reading my Bible, doing some blog stuff, or, if I don't have any of that going on, maybe playing some phone games. And I can just feel like just kind of like the peace and comfort of just like being in the same room and like just like being around her.
Okay, so as I mentioned at the beginning, you are not only married now, but you're also playing baseball for the Nationals. So, and like I said, you and Maya have done that together. Y'all moved to West Palm, and then you're in Tampa, and now you're in Delaware. How has all that just transitions been, being married, and how has that been?
It's been fun. It's been, I can definitely tell you it's a lot better probably to do married than to do engaged, sure. Or even dating. But it's been fun. We're going to be expert movers by the time I'm done playing baseball, because let's see, we moved into Seaside for like 2 weeks, and then we moved to Tampa for 4 months, 3 or 4 months. And then we moved to West Palm for a month, or 2 months for me, 1 month for her. And then we picked up and moved now to Delaware. And then, anything here could change. You could be here for a month and a half and then move up or move down, or you could be here for the whole 6 months, or, and then still at the end of the season, then you got to pack everything up, move on home.
Could you get traded somewhere like next week, possibly?
I don't think I would, but I think actually, I honestly don't really know how baseball stuff works with trade deadlines and whatnot. Yeah. But I think so. I think people could just be traded at any point. I don't really know.
You finally get planted there, then they're like, yeah, you're gonna go to Utah.
Well, yeah. Well, that happened to one of our AAA guys. One of our AAA guys moved everything up in Rochester, New York. He made the whole travel up there. He was there for 1 day, played 1 game, and then one of our big leaguers got placed on the 10-day IL. So then they moved him from Rochester all the way back down to DC. So then he had to pack everything up and move on down to DC.
Yeah, but that's a different case, though. He got moved up to the major leagues. He's not getting traded.
Well, yeah, but still, you can get traded, I think, just kind of at any point.
Yeah, but I was just saying, you just gave that example, and I'm just saying, that's a...
Well, I know, but I'm just giving you the example of
Okay, I see what you're saying.
This guy was there for literally a day thinking that, okay, I'm in AAA, and then now he's... Now he... I mean, obviously, that's a much more hype case than being oh great, I'm moving from wherever to wherever. This guy's now in the big leagues, but it's just still the craziness factor of you can be here for 1 day and have this plan of what you're gonna do in AAA, and then next day some dude gets hurt and then you're up in the big leagues.
If you listen to this podcast, you've heard me talk a lot about AG1 because it's something that I love to do. It's something that I've been taking for about 1.5 years, maybe even almost 2 years now. And it's something that I take usually in the mornings before my workout routine. And I feel like it gives me boosted energy. It helps my immune system. It tastes delicious, which also just helps. And I don't like taking pills either. And this has just been an awesome supplement that I can work in my routine that gives me all the benefits that I feel like I need. And AG1 was designed with ease in mind so that you can live healthier and better without having to do a lot. It's seriously the healthiest thing that you can do in under just a minute. And every scoop of AG1 has 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens that have huge benefits like gut and mood support, boosted energy, and it's even great for skin, hair, and nails. It's just high-quality stuff that's good for you. And there's so many people that I've told about AG1. My parents are on it. I started to tell my brother about it. And everyone that listens on the podcast, I'll have them reviews come on that tell me that they're taking it now. I've had the Duck Commander guys on it, specifically the Duck Call Room podcast guys. My neighbor's on it that I've mentioned him a few times. And we've been traveling a lot here coming up before Haven's born in the next month or so. Honestly, really at this point, pretty crazy. But all that to say, every time I travel, I take my travel packs with me from AG1. They're just the little travel packs that I can just put in however much water I want. They're super easy. I can put them in my backpack, my suitcase, my DOP kit, wherever they fit, basically anywhere that you want to bring them. And I need that health on the go wherever we travel, so I always bring those travel packs with me. And I noticed that AG1 helps me with my mood, my energy. I feel like before I go to the gym, it really gives me just the energy that I need. Sometimes if I don't want to take heavy pre-workout with a lot of caffeine, I can take my AG1, and it tastes delicious. It's going to give me the energy that I need, and I know that I'm getting all my vitamins and minerals that I need before I'm about to go do a heavy squat session or whatever I might be doing. So if you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/Huff. That's athleticgreens.com/Huff. Go check it out. Well, something I do want to talk about. So, this past fall, you hit your first 100-mile-an-hour fastball pitch.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why I said fastball, because I don't know what else you would throw 100 miles an hour.
Change up.
You could never throw 100-mile-an-hour change up. Plus,
somebody could, not me though.
I don't know, probably. Okay, so kind of share the story on that real quick, because could the gun have been juiced a little bit, or do we really think it was legitimate 100?
The gun could have been juiced, but what the scoreboard says is what the scoreboard says.
That's so true.
You can't, that's like, I don't really know what to compare it to. That'd be like if I was to run like a 4.240 on laser or something like that, and then someone's like, well, could the lasers have been off? Like, yeah, the lasers could have been off, but it says that I ran a 4.240. So it's the same thing with a radar gun.
That's so true. Well, you have a highly more likely chance of throwing 100 than running a 4.240.
Me, myself, yes.
What do you think? I don't think you could run you could probably run a 5 flat. I'm
definitely a sub 5. I'm the sub 5. Come on. I'm probably pushing. I think on a good day, I could probably get like a high 4.8.
All right, possibly. All right, well, tell a story of you throwing 100. Because you came in to relieve the game.
Yeah, it was a cool night. Relieving can be fun because you get to just kind of come in and you're only going to go like an inning or two, so you just kind of get to just let out all the gas, I guess. And it was something that I started doing in like whenever I got to low A up in Fredericksburg. Everybody was out there throwing the football one day. And so I started throwing the football like before the game. And then I was like, man, this feels good. And so then like that night I went into pitch, and and I was like, I'm just going to kind of just act like I'm throwing this like a football. And then, this was the first time that I had like a working velo up on a board in a while. So, I was breaking my neck turning around looking at that thing, but I was sitting 96 to 98. So I was like, warranted. And so then, after that, I was like, dang, that's the hardest I've ever been sitting, and I'm throwing the football. So then I just kind of kept up doing that, and just kind of like kept up like with that thinking of just whenever I'm up on the mound, I'm just going to pretty much throw this baseball like a football. And then my velo just kind of kept going up. And then I think that night I was like 97 to 100 on that scoreboard, which we're going to take as 100.
Which is so unfortunate, because the only time you've ever thrown 100 in your life, you gave up a hit on it.
Yeah, I know. And I just blew the dude away with like 98, and then somehow he catches up to the 100.
Yeah.
It was still a cool moment. Yeah. But I think I had to do with like 2 strikes. And I tried to throw, that was probably like one of the hardest fastballs I've ever tried to throw in my life. And yeah, and then I think I just missed a spot, and then he hit it, and I was like, dang, what was that? And then I turned around and looked at the board, and I was like, wow, that was 100. And he hit that.
How satisfying was that moment for you?
It was pretty cool. It would have been a lot better if it was a swing and a miss.
I think you had him 0-2 or 1-2. I can't really remember the count.
Yeah, it was something like that. It would have been a lot better if it was it was a swing or a miss.
If you painted the corner with 100, you would have been. Your heart would have been at 190.
Yeah, it was cool. Like I remember when it was in that same series, I was facing Carter Young, who I played with at Vanderbilt, and I threw him a slider first pitch, and it got balled, which I think is still a strike.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a strike.
And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and like blow this one by him, and then it was 99. And then it was 2-0. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, hitting with wood bats is already hard enough. Like, I'm just going to try and just groove my fastball here. And so, like, to me, I felt like I took a lot off of it, and it was still 97. And I was like, wow. Like that was the more satisfying feeling to me than honestly, like, seeing the 100 up on the board, because I was like, dang, I just tried to take some off of that, and it was still 97.
Was that your pride speaking, or was that you being humble?
Well, I mean, if we're just talking about what's cooler, like, that was like that was almost like I guess it'd be a little prideful, but it was like dang, that's cool. I can literally, like, I tried to take some off of that fastball and just groove one in there, and it was still upper 90s. It's like, I usually, like, this isn't a feeling that I'm used to.
Yeah.
I'm used to taking off a little bit and maybe having like a 92 or a 93.
Maybe you should have thrown the football before the game last week.
Yeah, I did. It was cold.
Oh, you did? You did throw the football before last week?
Yeah, we'll just say it was cold, though.
Okay, we'll just say it was cold.
Yeah, it was cold.
Yeah, your velo was not 100 last week.
No, that's okay. It's not going to be 100 every time.
That's okay. It can't be 100 every time, but it wasn't.
You can't.
It wasn't 97 either, so.
No, okay. It can't be that every time.
It can't be that every time either.
No.
But hey, for some people it is, though, but it's okay. You're going to get there.
We'll get there.
You're going to get there. So post that, you finished the season there in Fredericksburg. You come home for a little bit, and then you start off-season training, which I know that was a lot different training stuff than you'd ever done in the past.
Yeah.
Kind of, what were you really doing, and how do you feel like all that stuff really helped you? Because you were doing a lot of stuff, one, that I'd never do, and I'm like, it's just funny because we're so polar opposite. You're like the most flexible person, and I'm like the most stiff, unflexible person like ever.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened, or I don't know what genetics you got, because our dad's clearly not flexible.
I think you got dads, and I think I probably got moms.
But I don't think mom's that flexible.
I don't know.
All right. Well, what'd your off-season training look like, and how do you feel like that benefited you for the season?
The off-season training was really cool. It's something that, like, I never really had done before. Like more of my training that I've just kind of always done is like your traditional, like heavy deadlift, heavy squat, like, and for me being a pitcher, like heavy dumbbell bench, and just trying to see how much weight I can always put up on any of those. Maybe a little too much of like an ego lifter mindset. Sure, some may say.
And you are the dude. My first episode, I roasted tank top lifters, and you are a for sure tank top lifter.
Yeah, I'd be a tank top guy. It depends on what kind of day. I'm not a tank top guy to the gym on leg day, no. But for a good bench day, yeah, I'd probably be a tank top guy.
All right.
There's nothing wrong with that either. If you want to wear a tank top, man, go ahead. You can wear a tank top. Just don't wear one of those like string tank tops. That's like just wear like a sleeveless, just like if this was cut right there.
Yeah, I will say there's a difference between sleeveless and the whole side oblique is hanging out for sure.
Yeah. See, I'm never one of those guys. I'm not the guy that's got the whole side of his shirt cut off. I'm not one of those guys. But anyways, this off-season training was cool. It's just like a lot more different stuff than what I've ever done. It's like a lot more focused on like movement and like strengthening like the end ranges. Like a lot of like, it was like a lot of just like crazy stuff, like putting like pressure on like putting more pressure on like your big toe to like feel like driving like in, and like working on like the internal rotation of like your hips, like turning this way, like with like a single arm kettlebell RDL, like kind of stuff like that, with like bands pulling you all different directions, but I mean, we still had some normal lifts in there. Like you still had like deadlift, dumbbell bench, and squat and whatnot, but like a lot of the accessory lifts that like went along with it were like a lot different and a lot more like, I think it was a lot more mindful stuff than like what I'd ever done, like not like, okay, I'm just going to go just grab 2 heavy dumbbells and just go crank out like 6 or 8 like RDLs, it's like okay, I'm gonna put my foot like up on this slant board and have this band like pulling my ankle this way and then like rotating into it this way to like get that feel of, and it was cool because of like all the stuff that like you could kind of like tie back to like, oh, okay, I see like how my hips are gonna move like this, like when I'm on the mound and whatnot.
Share the story real quick. Because I remember it was last season. It was a Saturday because you had just pitched on Friday, and you went in, and I think it might have been Virginia, and the pitchers were like front squatting like 185 maybe.
Oh no, I think it might have been. Oh yeah, it might have been. No, it wasn't UVA. We played UVA away. It might have been Virginia. No, we played. Yeah, it might have been Virginia Tech.
Maybe Virginia Tech. But I think but then you were like squatting like 450 or like you were doing like you were doing not RDLs, you were doing what's the split squats with like 315 or something funny, and I was just that this do you remember that story?
Oh yeah, well, like I don't know, I think for me the day after when you pitch, it's like always a fun, like it's always like a good lift to go heavy because it's either like you just shoved and like you're feeling really good about yourself, so like let's go throw up some weight, or like you threw horrible, so it's like okay, let's go throw up some weight and feel good about ourselves for something.
Was that which scenario was that one?
The Virginia Tech one, it was kind of a little halvesy. I threw really well going into the fifth, and then just the ball didn't quite roll my way in the fifth, and then I had a bad fifth inning, so it kind of like left a bad taste in my mouth, I would say. So it's kind of like a little bit of both. Like I threw really well getting up to that point, and then the fifth inning happened, and then not so good. So then I think it was probably more of like I didn't throw well yesterday. Like let's go crush this lift kind of deal.
It was a tank top day.
Might have been for the legs. I mean, just because you got the opposing team in there.
That's true.
Yeah. So might have been a tank top day actually though.
Well, do you feel like? I mean, do you feel like that style? Because I mean, all 4 years of college, you were doing more heavy compound lift. Like, what do you? Do you feel like all that stuff help, whether it's with mobility or tension stuff or force when you're driving and stuff like that? How do you feel like more mobility, more band stuff like that help?
I think there's like a cool way to maybe like do both. Like, I like I think, and also too, but talking like, I mean, I'm young playing baseball and whatnot. And like you talk with like a lot of the older guys who have played for a long time. And, I mean, I've never played more than a 70 something game season. And now I'm in minor leagues and starting, and this will be like my first time ever having like 140 in it, or 140 games in a season. And so like a bunch of these older guys talk about like how, like you don't ever want to go like too heavy on all this stuff because then your body's just going to be like broken down by the end of the year, which I can see. But I think that there's like a good way to maybe like do both of not like maxing out, but also like pushing yourself like to like a good end range of, like to a good end range of weight. And then also kind of like incorporating some of those other like accessory lifts into it, like where you're kind of like getting more of like the feel for things instead of just kind of like mindlessly doing like some band pull aparts or something.
No, for sure. That makes sense. Well, I want to kind of end talking about something lately that you've also been doing that you're passionate about. I want to talk about your blog for a little bit. So you started a blog a few months ago called N0t By Chance, but the O is a 0. So if you want to look it up, if you type in N0t By Chance with an O, it won't pop up, but you have to do.
Yeah, it's got to be a 0.
It's got to be a 0 for the O, slightly for aesthetics, but also for the meaning. So kind of explain the heartbeat behind starting the blog and what have you learned kind of heading that up.
Well, the funny thing about the 0 is there was not an Instagram name. Like I think I was starting the Instagram before I started the website, and there was not an Instagram name for N0t By Chance. So I had to I couldn't put like just the O. So then I was like, like what could I do? So then I put the 0 in, and then the 0 worked. And then I was like, okay, like how can I tie this in? And then, it's like a N0t By Chance, and I have some other athletes write blogs as well. And whenever they write, it's like titled like if you were to write one, it'd be not by Christian or not by Connor, stuff like that, because, it's like the blog isn't written by me. It's not written by Connor. It's not written by you. It's like, these are God's words that he's like writing through us to share with others. So like, that's where kind of like the not by chance came through. And then it's also not by chance that, like that you find yourself on the page, that you find yourself reading the blogs, that you find yourself on the website. Like, that's not by chance. And then the 0 is just like a reinforce that it's like 0 chance.
No, I think it's really cool. I mean, because we had always kind of, because you had written for Sadie's blog in the past, and every time you wrote, they were always super good. We were like, you should do your own kind of thing. Then you actually took initiative and started this. It's really cool. Yeah. And plus, Maya helped you with all the graphics and stuff too, which really helped you out.
I was Canva challenged, but now I'm good on Canva though, after operating it for a couple months. But yeah, no, I think it was just super tough to like start in college, because I really wanted to start doing it after this last Passion 2022, and I was like, I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna do it. And then then school takes over, and then baseball season comes, and then it's just like, okay, actually I don't really have, I probably had enough time to do it, but I was like, whenever I finally had dead time, like I wanted to just not do anything really. And then, then summer came, and I was like, man, this is my first time, like not having to play summer ball, not having to like do any school. I'm just going to enjoy this time. And then I got drafted. I was like, and then like, I was just kind of focusing more on like doing baseball again, like back in West Palm, and then got moved up to Fredericksburg. And then finally, like this off season was like the time where I've really had like not a whole lot to do except for pretty much just work out. And so I was talking about it with Maya one day when we were staying out in Seaside, and then we were like, yeah, you know what, let's start this. And so then it was a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun doing it. How
do you feel like when you write things out, how do you feel like that helps your faith?
Well, I think it's cool because like it kind of leads me into a lot of some scripture stuff that I'm not really, I guess like that I would, or like, I guess stuff that I don't really, or something that I'm not reading at the time,
Yeah, or like trying to make a correlation between things and use the scripture to kind of bridge the gap to it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, like if I'm like trying to, like for me, I'm about to do some short stories because I didn't write a blog this week. Because like I just really couldn't like think about like what I really wanted to write about. So I'm gonna do some short stories this week. And like one person like wanted me to start or he was like talk about the heart of God. And it's like obviously I can like list a couple things about like the heart of God, like his forgiveness, like his love, his mercy, his grace, and that kind of stuff. But like for the short stories that I kind of want to write, like obviously I'm going to want to go look more into it and like kind of put a little more research than just what I know off the top of my head. And so like that's going to lead me into like cool different verses and kind of like get to like teach me some other things about like the heart of God that I might not find. I was like looking at some things the other day for it, and it was talking about like some verse in Numbers, and I've never read through the book of Numbers, and so just kind of be stuff like that, like verses that I'll get to read that just kind of like get to teach me new things that I may not read on my own.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, for those listening, I guess to say one more time how to find it, because I know you have an Instagram, then you have a website.
Yep. So it's just Not By Chance with a 0. That's our Instagram page, Not By Chance, and then the website is notbychance.com with 0 again instead of the O. Nobody uses the 0, man.
Let's do it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, and then if you're really feeling like you want to follow along, you can download the MILB app and pay a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription, and you can type in the Wilmington Blue Rocks
and view only the away games. And
you can see when Chance is pitching.
Yep, that's it. I don't know if you can view the home ones.
Well, hopefully soon. You said that they're trying to figure out the technology to do it. So
yeah, it's first week. There's going to be some there's going to be some technological things that, just aren't quite sound yet. Not everybody's ready for opening week yet.
Yeah, that's so true.
So
what is something that you think the audience should know about me?
Should know about you?
Yes. I don't know where this is going to go because I'm.
I would say maybe not a lot of people know how fast Christian is. Christian's very fast.
Wow, I thought you were going to flame me.
Well, or his excessive love for ketchup whenever he was younger.
That's true. I keep them coming.
There's a picture that we were just looking at the other day, and it was like all of us on a family trip, like me, Christian, our cousins, Xander, Hatton, and Blakely, our parents, and our aunts and uncles, and everybody was at the dinner table, and there was no food out yet. And we had a picture of all of us, and Christian just had half of his plate already covered in ketchup, waiting on the food to come out.
That is true. And one year I did have a ketchup cake. Like it wasn't made out of ketchup, but it was like out of a ketchup bottle. Like it was like a chocolate cake.
That's because of how much he loved ketchup.
I think of one more thing to try to roast me.
Your Christian does not have a very good relationship with freeze off, as he had to use that a lot whenever he was younger on his finger.
I do about my warts. That is the most random thing.
I'm trying to think about something to roast you on.
Yeah, we get it. I had warts when I was growing up.
Yeah, you had a really warty finger. It wasn't just warts. It was a lot of warts on your finger.
Okay, we get it. All right.
What's something else I can roast you on?
The wart thing was just so out of left field. No pun intended on the baseball theme. But
it was out of left field. That's what makes it funny and random and roasting.
Okay, well, whatever. I slept on your trundle half our childhood. Maybe you could.
Yeah, that's also a fun fact. A fun fact is, well, actually, an even more fun fact is that when Christian didn't want to sleep on my trundle because I was like, or like my pull-out bed in my room, because I was kind of like, he was too cool for like him to come sleep in my room. He pretty much like forced me to come sleep in his room. And so I slept on his pull-out bed. And then once we kind of got to, I think, high school, and then he was like, okay, like my younger brother's like cool enough now, I'll go sleep in his room every night.
Yeah. Well, speaking of high school, you believed in Santa Claus till high school, so
no, till middle school.
We'll end on that
through
one.
Middle school. Don't even try and lie.
It was at least 8th grade.
No, it was middle school. I think it was like 6th.
No, it was higher than 6th grade.
Whatever. Anyways, kids can dream. Mom and Dad also never told me.
Chance, well, thanks for being a reoccurring guest. That we're cheering you on and we love you. So thanks for joining me. I love anytime we get a chance to talk, because it's encouraging to me and uplifting, but it's also just fun because
fun. Yeah,
we mesh well together.
Yeah, we do. It's like we were brothers.
We're just brothers.